Hey everyone, welcome back to the podcast.
Hey guys, it's great to have you with us again.
Today we've got a really interesting topic. Have you ever heard a story that sounded so strange that you thought there's absolutely no way that actually happened?
Well, today we're talking about stories that sound fictional, but are based on real events.
We're talking about people who disappeared, mysterious deaths, ancient manuscripts, lost treasures, and even a strange signal detected from space.
And the interesting part is that some of these mysteries have been investigated for decades, or even centuries.
But we still don't have all the answers.
Exactly.
Now, before we start, I want to make one thing clear. We're not going to present theories as facts.
Right. We'll talk about what we know, what we don't know, and some of the explanations that have been proposed.
Because sometimes the truth is already strange enough.
And sometimes the most honest answer is simply, we don't know.
So get comfortable, put on your headphones, and let's get into some of the world's most fascinating unsolved mysteries. This is Unsolved Mysteries That Sound Fake. Let's start with one of the most famous mysteries at sea, the Mary Celeste. I've heard this story before, but every time I hear it, it still sounds impossible. What exactly happened?
In December 1872, the Mary Celeste was discovered drifting in the Atlantic Ocean by another ship called the Dei Grazia.
Okay, so what was wrong with it?
The ship was abandoned. There was nobody on board.
Nobody?
Nobody. The captain, the crew, and the passengers were all gone.
But was the ship damaged?
It wasn't a complete wreck. The ship was still afloat and considered seaworthy. There was cargo on board, along with food and supplies.
So basically, you have a functioning ship, but no people.
Exactly. And the lifeboat was missing.
Which suggests they left the ship?
That's one of the strongest clues. They probably abandoned the vessel for some reason. But the big question is, why?
What are the main theories?
There are several. One possibility is that the crew believed the ship was in danger and decided to leave. Another theory involves the ship's cargo of alcohol and the possibility that fumes or an explosion caused panic. Weather and other environmental conditions have also been considered.
But none of those explanations has been proven?
Correct.
And what happened to the people?
That's the most frustrating part. They were never found.
So we have the ship. We have evidence that they were there. We know the lifeboat was gone. But we don't know what happened afterward.
Exactly.
Imagine being the person who found that ship. You climb aboard expecting to find another crew, and there's nobody there.
It must have been an extraordinary sight.
And that's why the Mary Celeste became one of the most famous maritime mysteries in history. Not because we know something supernatural happened, but because we simply don't have enough evidence to reconstruct the final moments of the people on board. Okay, let's move from a missing crew to a mysterious death. This one happened in Australia.
Yes. On December 1, 1948, a man was found dead on Somerton Beach near Adelaide.
And investigators didn't know who he was?
That's right. He didn't have clear identification, and some of the labels had been removed from his clothing.
That's already strange. But I remember there's something about a piece of paper?
Yes. A small piece of paper associated with the case contained the words, "Tamam should."
What does that mean?
It roughly translates as ended or finished. The phrase came from the final page of the Rubaiyat of Omar Khayyam.
So investigators found the book?
Eventually, yes. And there were additional markings inside that made the case even more intriguing.
And for decades, nobody knew who this man was.
Correct. But there was an important development in 2022. Researchers announced that genetic genealogy had identified the man as Carl Charles Webb, a Melbourne electrical engineer and instrument maker.
So, after all those years, we finally had a name.
Potentially, yes. But identifying him didn't automatically answer every question.
Such as?
The exact circumstances surrounding his death, why he was in Adelaide, and what the mysterious clues associated with the case actually meant.
So the identity mystery may have been solved, but the entire story still isn't.
Exactly.
That's actually something we're going to see throughout this episode. Sometimes you solve one piece of a mystery, and suddenly there are 3 more questions.
That's what makes these cases so fascinating.
Now, let's talk about something completely different. A book.
The Voynich Manuscript.
And this is an actual historical manuscript?
Yes, it's a real manuscript, now preserved at Yale University. Radiocarbon dating of its parchment places it in the early 15th century, roughly between 1404 and 1438.
So this thing is more than 500 years old.
Yes.
And what exactly makes it mysterious?
The writing. The manuscript contains hundreds of pages written in an unidentified script. Nobody has produced a universally accepted decipherment.
So nobody can actually read it?
Not reliably.
That's incredible. What else is inside?
There are drawings of plants, astronomical-looking diagrams, circular illustrations, biological-looking scenes, and what appear to be herbal or pharmaceutical sections.
Some of the plants look strange, right?
Yes. Some illustrations don't clearly correspond to known plants, but we have to be careful with that. It's possible the artist was drawing stylized or imaginary versions of real plants.
So even the pictures raise questions.
Exactly.
Who wrote it?
Unknown.
Why?
Unknown.
What language?
Unknown.
Okay, we're making a lot of progress here.
The Voynich Manuscript is very good at producing questions.
But surely people have tried to decode it.
Many times. Cryptographers, linguists, historians, mathematicians, and computer scientists have all attempted to understand it.
And nobody has come up with a solution everyone accepts?
Correct. There have been proposed translations, but none has become a definitive, independently verified solution.
What are the theories?
It could be an unknown language, it could be a cipher, it could be a constructed writing system, and some have even suggested that the entire manuscript might be an elaborate hoax.
A hoax? Imagine spending years creating hundreds of pages just to confuse people hundreds of years later.
It would certainly be one of the most ambitious practical jokes in history.
But here's my question. If someone finally cracks the manuscript tomorrow, does the mystery disappear?
Not necessarily. Even if we could read every word, we'd still want to know who created it and why.
So decoding the manuscript might only solve one part of the puzzle.
Exactly.
That's what makes it interesting. It's not just a secret message. It's an entire historical object whose purpose remains uncertain.
And until a proposed translation can be independently tested and accepted, the manuscript remains undeciphered.
So after more than 500 years,
we still don't know what it says.
Okay, our next mystery is almost unbelievable. Because we're not talking about a small object, we're talking about an entire room.
The Amber Room.
What was so special about it?
The Amber Room was an extraordinary chamber decorated with amber panels, gold ornamentation, mirrors, and elaborate artwork. It eventually became part of the Catherine Palace near St. Petersburg.
So this wasn't just a normal room with expensive furniture?
Not even close. It was considered a masterpiece of decorative art.
And then World War II changed everything.
Yes. In 1941, Nazi forces seized the Amber Room. They dismantled the panels and transported them to Königsberg, where the room was put on display.
So we actually know where it was during the war?
Yes.
Then how did it become missing?
Königsberg suffered massive destruction toward the end of the war. After the fighting, the original Amber Room could no longer be located.
So the room basically vanished during the chaos of the final months of World War II?
That's the basic mystery.
What are the theories?
Some believe it was destroyed during the bombing and fighting. Others believe it may have been hidden or transported somewhere else. Over the years, there have been searches for the missing room in underground locations, bunkers, mines, and other suspected hiding places.
And I'm guessing there are plenty of treasure hunting stories.
Absolutely. But we have to separate documented evidence from speculation. The fact that someone searched a bunker doesn't mean the Amber Room was actually there.
Was anything ever recovered?
Yes. In 1997, an original mosaic from the Amber Room was found in Germany.
So at least part of the original survived,
Correct.
but not the entire room.
No. The complete original Amber Room has never been conclusively recovered.
And the Amber Room that exists today?
It's a reconstruction.
So if someone visits it today, they're seeing a recreation of something that was actually lost.
Exactly.
That's fascinating. Because the story isn't simply a room disappeared. We know the room existed. We know what was taken. We know what was displayed. We know some original pieces survived. But we don't know what happened to the complete original.
And that's why the mystery remains.
Personally, I want to believe it's hidden somewhere.
That's the more exciting theory.
Exactly. But the evidence may ultimately point to destruction.
That's possible. So until someone discovers a giant amber wall behind a secret tunnel, the original Amber Room remains missing.
Okay, now we're going somewhere completely different. Space.
The wow signal.
And I already know the question.
Was it aliens?
Exactly. But let's not jump ahead. What actually happened?
On August 15, 1977, the Big Ear radio telescope at Ohio State University detected an unusually strong radio signal. It lasted approximately 72 seconds.
Only 72 seconds.
Yes.
And how did it get the name WOW?
Astronomer Jerry Eman later reviewed the computer printout and saw the unusual sequence of characters representing the signal. He circled it and wrote "wow" next to it.
Which is basically the most appropriate scientific reaction possible.
Apparently so.
But what made the signal so unusual?
Its strength and characteristics. It was a narrow band signal coming from a particular region of the sky. That made it interesting to researchers involved in the search for possible artificial radio transmissions.
Which naturally led people to the extraterrestrial theory.
Yes, but we have to be very clear. The WOW signal does not prove that aliens exist.
Right. we know the signal was detected. We don't know what caused it.
Exactly. Scientists have considered various possibilities: natural astronomical phenomena, interference, and more recent research has proposed possible astrophysical explanations involving hydrogen clouds.
But then there's the big problem. The signal never came back.
Correct.
That must have been incredibly frustrating. Imagine discovering something that unusual and then never seeing it again.
That's exactly the problem. If the signal had repeated, researchers could compare observations. They could measure changes. They could investigate its origin. But with only one detection, there's much less information to work with.
So it's like hearing a mysterious sound once. You can make theories, but you can't recreate the experiment.
That's a good analogy.
Could it have been a deliberate message?
There's no evidence strong enough to establish that.
Could it have been aliens?
Again, there's no evidence to make that conclusion.
Could it have been a natural phenomenon?
That's possible.
So the scientific answer is basically,
We don't know.
I actually like that answer. Because sometimes people think saying we don't know means science has failed. But that's not really true.
Exactly. Science is also about recognizing when the evidence isn't sufficient.
And that's what makes this signal so interesting. We have an actual observation. We have data. We have hypotheses. But we don't have a confirmed explanation.
Exactly.
Now, just for fun, if it really was aliens, why would they send a signal for 72 seconds and then disappear?
We have no idea.
Maybe they sent it and waited for a response?
Possible.
Maybe they looked at Earth and decided we weren't ready.
That's speculation.
I know.
But it's fun speculation.
Exactly. And that's the difference. We can enjoy the theories without pretending they're facts.
That's probably the best way to approach mysteries like this.
So almost 50 years later, we still have one strange signal?
One observation.
About 72 seconds.
And no definitive explanation.
That's a pretty good mystery. 5 mysteries, and somehow we have more questions than answers.
And that's the point.
A mystery doesn't automatically mean aliens, conspiracies, or something supernatural.
Sometimes the evidence simply isn't enough.
So, which mystery should we investigate next? Let us know, and don't forget to follow the podcast.
Thanks for listening.
Until next time, stay curious.